Okay. Well, when I was asked to speak about my work here today, I had an instant anxiety attack. Because I recognized and honored the honor being bestowed upon me here today. This is way outside my comfort zone, as you probably all can tell. I am fortunate and that I have many women who have encouraged me, and a sister who reminded me of what my kukum used to call me when I was little. Makatu. This means loudmouth. Or one that just cannot stay quiet about something she sees as unjust or wrong. In Cree, that's. So you'll recognize that language. Also what my brother called a rat. But what does he know anyway? I am not from here, although I can never be more grateful for where I find myself in this most beautiful, majestic part of the world. I originate from a very small Métis settlement in Alberta called Fishing Lake, or the Michif word Sputnam. I came to BC when I was 17 to meet my father for the first time that I could remember. That's a whole other story I'm not going to get into here. I was asked to speak to you today about my experiences as a Métis woman who has worked in both the literacy field and the anti-violence field. At first I wondered, what could I possibly have to offer to a group of women as respected and with such expertise as those here today? Fortunately, I love to talk about myself and my work, so I'm always swim over. In all seriousness, before working in the anti-violence field, as an STD counselor, I worked as a literacy practitioner for 6 years and continue to work part-time in the literacy field. It is the integration of these two sectors that I am most passionate about and that inspire me to talk to you here today. I am now able to link both lines of work, and there are days when I question, which makes me feel more inspired. As a literacy practitioner, I have been privileged enough to work with some of literacy's greatest minds to design and implement programs such as Stepping Out, which is an informal literacy program. It is held at our local coffee shop in the mall. At this group, I ensure that the local newspaper and coffee is available for all in attendance. Each person who wishes to is invited to participate in a writing out loud session. This affords learners the ability to share what they know while putting pen to paper. Though, most importantly, it gets women out where they can develop safe social networks. A few other programs I have helped design and implement are our community kitchen program where learners are able to learn the skills to not only run a program that they own, but to open it to the community for all to participate in. A community garden where learners can grow their own food while learning how to learn in a natural environment, where they can feel connected to our Mother Earth. I have worked with corporations such as ICBC to help both the corporation and the learner understand, respect, and navigate that which is foreign and intimidating. It is this liaison work that has resulted in numerous people getting their learner's licenses and eventually their driver's licenses. And as we know, for many women, having a driver's license can mean the difference between being stuck with a man who abuses you and the ability to leave. Throughout my years of working in both fields, I have come to discover the importance of identity. As someone who grew up on settlement and went to an all-Métis school for the first and most impressionable years of my life, I can stand before you here today and weep for those women in my community who are disconnected from the gift of First Nations, Métis, and Aboriginal pride. I say this because it is my Métis pride that has helped me to stay the course, to learn how to learn, to overcome past traumas, and to see, use, understand intergenerational trauma that was passed to me by my mother and grandmother, or that trauma that is cellular. I'm sure you all know what I speak of. It is that feeling, rather knowing, that what you are experiencing is not really yours, but regardless, you are left with it. Like when someone leaves their dirty dishes on the coffee table. You're forced to deal with them when they start to stink. It is this personal experience that helped me to recognize trauma triggers in many of the women who came to me with the request to go back to school when I first started working in the field. Although I recognized when a woman was reliving something from the past, or reacting from a little girl place, I had no idea how to help her address that which was so destructive to her goals. Particularly other First Nations, Métis, and Aboriginal women who were and are still today disconnected from their roots and identity. I can't say that I know any more today about these things. All I can speak to is what I have experienced and seen by leading my literacy work and my work as an STD counselor. I have witnessed women change their lives and their children's lives. I think this is in part a result of practicing literacy through an informal learning lens. I have been able to develop relationships with women outside of the office where they are comfortable. I'm able to get to know these women, their families, and many times their histories. And once again, I can stand before you here today and tell you that it is these relationships that makes it easier for women to access my services as an STD counselor. I can tell you this because I've had many women, First Nations, Métis, and Aboriginal women, tell me that had they not met me at the garden or in the kitchen or on the wall, they would have never darkened my STD door. So what is the connection between being First Nations, Métis, or Aboriginal and what I am saying here? I wish I could say for sure that it is this or that it is that, but unfortunately I cannot. I do know that as a nation, there is an intrinsic knowing, and as women, there is feeling of equal knowing. I guess my message is that literacy is a vehicle that is like the pavement to empowerment or personal change, and yet it is overlooked or assumed to be present when oftentimes it is lacking due to childhood traumas. Traumas that might have happened during important developmental learning blocks. And it is this loss of learning that results in behaviors or choices made as adults that impede or simply prevent women we work with from reaching their goals as adults. Research and experts in the early literacy development field have shown and proven that when a child is between the ages of 0 to 6, they learn basic patterning. This is the scaffolding of reasoning and critical thinking. And if any of this is interrupted by traumatic events, whether it be physical or emotional, the results are far-reaching and often lifelong. It is this cumulative or one missed building block that results in other important literacy and life skills being misunderstood or simply missed. It results in many women, or it results in many First Nations, Métis, and Aboriginal women missing out on or being excluded from many learning opportunities. It is no secret that being First Nations, Métis, or Aboriginal excluded many of us from events and opportunities that could have changed or improved upon our literacy skills. And when I say literacy, I mean the ability to identify understand, interpret, create, communicate, compute, and use printed and written material associated with varying contexts. Literacy involves a continuum of learning and enabling individuals to achieve their goals, to develop their knowledge and potential, and to participate fully in their communities and wider society. So what does all this mean? I guess what I am suggesting is that as we endeavor to work with First Nations, Métis, and Aboriginal women, we must remain cognizant of how literacy, or the lack of literacy skills, can impact a woman's ability to keep both herself and her children safe. A few ways that we can help to bring this taboo issue into the light is to develop partnerships with literacy experts. Invite local literacy practitioners to co-facilitate the women's groups we develop and deliver. Attend professional development events that are within the literacy field or in community development in general. And in closing, that if we are not familiar with assessing or addressing a woman's literacy needs, that we ensure we develop relationships with the local literacy program people and practitioners who can help us help those women we seek to lock arms with and bring about desired change. Thank you.